Welcome to Zooming to Webinar Success. If you're needing to plan a virtual meeting and are stuck, this series is for you. Full-time voice artist Grant Holmes is also a busy virtual meeting manager and on-screen host. Learn tips and tricks to having successful virtual meetings from step one. Here's your host, Grant Holmes.
Welcome. Glad you're with me today. In episode 3, we discussed managing your contacts. We assumed that you have some type of following, and as a result of that, episode number 3, you've now got created, right? Some type of structure to manage your contacts. If you missed that episode, go back and grab it. This is one of the most critical early steps. If you're gathering emails, if you're gathering audience and you don't have a way to collect and hold and manage them, you're missing out. So today's episode number 4, we're going to discuss purpose, goals, and objectives. And as simple as this may sound, in consulting on webinars and business both, it stuns me how often people don't consider the real purpose of what they're doing. There's an old story that then President Kennedy, and remember this was moonshot planning days, right? Ask a janitor what he did at the White House. And supposedly the man answered, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." Well, true or not, it really demonstrates someone who understands their purpose. So I ask you, what is the purpose of your webinar? What's the goal? What's the objective? When I've coached professional speakers on their speeches and presentations and stagecraft, I've always asked, at the end of this speech, what do you want your audience to feel? What do you want them to do? What do you want them to change? What do you want them to enact? And anything like that. What do you want to accomplish? So I ask you, why are you doing this? I consulted with a client yesterday who's about this same phase of webinar planning, really just trying to focus in now. I asked her the same question, and she had the same, what you might assume is a basic answer. Well, I want to X. Okay. After using the Ask Why 5 times exercise, we discovered there were several purposes. Porpoise? Yeah, anyhow, many purposes. First was to give away free information. Second was to build audience for future paid webinars. Third, build audience for a planned paid course that would come later. And fourth, attract clients for private consulting or coaching. 4 perfect goals that go together. But when we first started talking, she was nowhere near that. Now, that fourth one, attracting clients for later consultation, is not necessarily something to accomplish in the webinar, but it's a goal that we want to keep in mind. Build the audience for a planned course. We're not going to offer the course in the webinar. It's not built yet, but we want to have that in mind as we structure things to set up for that. So anyhow, today's homework for you. Write down all the goals, objectives, the reason you're having this webinar, and see if they fit together. Or is there something better that you could leave for a future webinar or future event? One example of this from another consultation. A client wanted to do a 90-minute free webinar for single moms. Great. But how many single moms that work do you know that could sit down and watch one 90-minute webinar? Exactly. Once considered, we started working on breaking that down to an initial free teaser information webinar and then a later paid event. And we might be able to do 2 to split it into 3. We want to get it down to around 20 minutes. When I know what you're trying to accomplish overall, I can really help you toward the longer term goals. I really hope this helps. This series is for smaller organizations and solopreneurs that may not be real tech savvy, maybe don't know all the steps, and in the case of my one client, don't want to know all the steps. Over this series, I'm going to lead you through the significant decisions and capabilities you'll need to Zoom to webinar success. And as always, if you need help now, don't hesitate to reach out at voicepro@grantsvoice.com. Thanks for watching.